trending stories within and outside Nigeria. A whole lot is happening within the Nigerian polity and, of course, out of Nigeria. But let's start from home.
Yes.
Charity. I guess they say charity
begins at home. One very interesting story from home is the call by the presidential candidate of the NDC, Mr. Peter Obi, on the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to resign. And he started out by citing what played out in the
United
UK.
Kingdom.
Yes, where I will quote him. He did say the Prime Minister's planned resignation at the time comes amid mounting public frustration over a stagnant economy, a worsening cost of living crisis, and a perceived failure to honor key campaign pledges, according to his words. And he now reminded Nigerians that at one point in time, the current president led calls for the resignation of then President Jonathan. So good luck, Jonathan, to resign over economic hardship and insecurity in the country.
What goes around comes around.
Now, he added, at present, however, these conditions have worsened. Electricity supply remains unreliable. Insecurity has intensified in many areas, including kidnappings, and economic hardship has deepened rather than eased. Similar concerns are reflected across other critical sectors such as security, infrastructure, transportation, and anti-corruption efforts, all of which have regressed. We are in a worst possible condition. And he wrapped up by saying, I therefore join Nigerians of goodwill in calling for the resignation of the president over monumental failure in governance. Such a gesture could help enthrone a political culture rooted in accountability and responsibility rather than further entrenching impunity. Very, very strong words here. Very, very valid points. Nobody can contest the fact that there is electricity supply remains unreliable. Insecurity has intensified in many areas. We've seen economic hardship has deepened, and then there are concerns around a lot of critical sectors in the economy. So, but it was the response of the government that really got me.
you know, I like what is happening because almost all the things that APC did say were committed by the Jonathan administration, it's actually worsened in their time.
That is,
I guess the 8-year tenure of the late President Buhari hasn't really done them a lot of good, hasn't given them the kind of confidence they should have, and it has actually affected the popularity of the party, really and truly, because they themselves will admit that those 8 years weren't exactly the best years of Nigeria.
Yes.
But then the presidency, I'm sure they've actually dismissed the call by the presidential candidate of the NDC for President Bola Tinubu to resign. Because according to him, all of those things he did say, they're working so much, they didn't hear it. Usually, you know, when APJs choose to lay some blame, they usually forget the fact that the past 8 years was run by an APC government.
They forget that fact.
They forget that fact. So they try to manage the things carefully. In fact, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, there has not been a time that they criticized the 8-year tenure of President Buhari.
Which in itself is not because it will be an indictment if they open their mouth at any point in time and say that government...
They've chosen not to wash their dirty linen in the public.
Yes.
Right. So, but If you ask me, I think His Excellency Peter will be quite correct. All the things he had said, quite germane, but you're not likely to see this president resigning, because even the president did say that if he's not able to give them power,
yes,
in the next 4 years, please vote me out.
A rebuttal has come from the government that they never promised 24-hour power supply. Very, very interesting, because again, they know how to spin.
They're good spin doctors.
So I think most of these calls are valid. The response of the government is that his claims are childish.
Yeah.
And I find that a bit childish, if you ask me, because again, I think they should have responded more strongly and say things
constructively.
Yes, constructively. Normally, you did say that there's no how the president was going to resign. It's not in our culture to do things like that.
Resign?
No, it's not possible.
From where? To where?
When the president don't resign, when you hear a minister resigns, it means that he or she has been sacked. They've been compelled to leave the post.
Yeah.
And it's so unfortunate. And that leaves a huge responsibility on the people. We need to start making the tough calls. The next round of elections are coming in a few months. And this is a time for real sober reflection. Sit down and tell you, what has the last 3 years been like? It's a clear indication of what the next 4 years will be like if given another opportunity. We need to start looking at the man in the mirror and being confident enough to tell the person in the mirror the truth. Because again, whether you know it or yes, our decisions, I will always say the price of all normal staples, bread, our popular gari, rice, beans, and all of that, they are all a political decision. So we shouldn't.
They are all a political decision.
Yes. So we can't just sit down and watch things unfold. Nigerians must take responsibility. In fact, we're having a conversation recently, and it's so sad that as we speak, there has been a massive collection of voters' cards. People are beginning to sell their voters' card. They are beginning to collect a stipend as part payment. They hand over their voters' card. And, you know, whether these are speculations or they are true, it still puts that big question. At what point do we come to the realization that our actions or inactions as not players within the impact it has?
The consequences.
The serious consequences.
Yeah.
So it's important that we start thinking differently. We start seeing it from the standpoint that the power is with the people. But, you know, like they say, an empty stomach is a bad political advisor. So,
well, maybe at this point we probably will say congratulations to the re-elected governor of Ekiti State.
Ekiti State.
His Excellency Oyebanji.
Yes.
Who was re-elected over the weekend.
Yes.
And he says he's going to serve smarter, serve harder, and serve better the people of Ekiti. I'm sure the next point of call will be Osun State, even though a lot of people still feel that the election wasn't as
smooth,
free and fair
yes,
as it should have been. But then maybe we probably will give some pat on the back to INEC for conducting that election.
You know, before that, they say it's one of the litmus tests for INEC in preparation for the general elections and all of that. Yes, I wouldn't, because we didn't hear too much
of violence.
Yes, I think maybe, but again, it's not it's a state election.
It's an off-cycle election.
Yes, off-cycle, yes. And you know how it works. When you have such elections, what the federal government normally would do is direct all resources in that area. So I saw the results. Landslide, if you ask.
In all the local government.
In all the local governments.
16 local government.
in all. Over 300,000 votes casted. They got over 300, and it's just PDP. And I think the Labour Party just got some, appearance fee, as it were. They showed up and they got some tiny, tiny votes. So maybe because of that gap in terms of the victory margin, maybe the opposition is not making so much noise, because so far we've not had anyone come to say they are contesting and all of that.
If you look at it, I think it's even the central that the opposition seems to be louder.
Yes.
It's in the central.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you can't say in most states. You can't say this is maybe, except some few states, maybe like Adamawa, for instance, where you probably have a Binani.
Yes.
I think she's in ADC or ADC.
Yeah, I think she's in ADC.
ADC, where you probably have a Binani. But very few states. So most states, the governors
are fully in charge.
Yeah, the governors are fully in charge. You understand? Again, PDP with its comme ci, comme ça, you probably don't know who is who. You understand now? But I'm sure that Accord Party, the governor of Osun State, who used to be in PDP, who went to Accord Party, maybe that's why you probably talk about Accord Party
at
in
the
Osun
moment.
State.
Yes.
Otherwise, you probably ask Accord waiting.
Who is Accord? Yeah. And again, but this has also what you just said now brought something to my mind when you said at the state level, it's pretty a captive audience kind of situation.
Yeah.
The governors are in charge. But could it mean that we could be able to see some kind of surprises spring up at the national level? Let's not lose sight of the fact that about the same situation during the build-up to the President Jonathan Goodluck elections of 2015 is currently playing out, where you have a high level of insecurity. In fact, like you said, it has worsened because we had a major insecurity scare during the President Goodluck Jonathan's administration, where we had the Chibok girls as the central focal point on which they hint. But today we have multiple security incidences, multiple kidnappings that people can anchor on to make a decision. So do you see it having an overriding impact on the national elections the general elections come 2027? Because the same thing played out in 2015, where you had most of the political parties aligning with the PDP. Then eventually this turned out to play again. So I am believing that in spite of the chokehold that governors have on the states, something else can play out at the center come 2027.
Okay.
I think so.
One of the stories again is the governors are demanding for greater powers, state police, because by the time it comes into being, the governors perhaps want much more power than they have via the Constitution. But like a few people have actually did say, like a few people have said rather, regarding state police, there are concerns when it comes to our governors wielding that authority within their states. Typically, you probably see a governor not even wanting the opposition to breathe. You understand?
Yes.
And that's when there isn't a state police. Typically, most governors do not want the opposition to breathe. Now imagine when a governor now is in charge of the state police, what will happen to the opposition?
You see, that argument is valid, right? We always have this concern about the governors hijacking the state police. Very, very valid argument. But again, it's a case of the pot calling the kettle black. The federal government has always hijacked the police as it stands. They take instructions from, just imagine the chief security officer of a state is not in good terms, is not in talking terms with the commissioner of police. No, that is a very, very dangerous precedent, right? So if
he's not in talking terms with the commissioner of police in his state.
In his state where he's
what will now happen?
Yes, where he is a chief security officer. You understand?
Well, no, where is a chief security officer? Quote and unquote.
It's not an indefinite article. A chief. Now, but where this argument of saying the governors will now become too powerful does not hold water. What we should be looking at is what community policing means to the community, because we have rising incidences of insecurity, and they're doing it with reckless abandon. So let's look at weigh the pros and cons and focus on the benefits for now. By the time we now start having issues of governors becoming too powerful or abusing their office, it could open another round of conversations.
I've always been for state policing, though. I've always been, because the level of insecurity is alarming. It's alarming. That's the thing.
Yes.
And it's become a big time business.
Yes.
Abductions, kidnapping, banditry.
A multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah, they become big time businesses where people can even choose not to do the right things, go into that, and they will say, okay, just that one or two contracts. That's what they will say.
Yes,
one or two contracts.
I was listening to the account of, I will remember his name, one of the aides of then President Buhari. He was an advisor to the president, and one of his nephew got kidnapped. And the narrative is that when you pay the ransom, right, another set of people will come in and collect the ransom and leave next to nothing to the foot soldiers. So it's a brisk business where you have complicity at every level.
Yeah.
Security operatives, government officials, top politicians are somewhat involved. So that's why they are doing it with reckless abandon. They have all the information as to how to evade security agencies and all of that. And they also have authorities to ask them to do nothing. We have instances of somebody who said they passed 3 checkpoints. And at each checkpoint, they were dropping money from the ransom they were paying. They were paying money from the ransom. And when they got to the checkpoint and said, see, if we get to these bandits...
What do we tell them?
What do we tell them? And the soldiers told them that, tell them that we were the one that collected it. And true to type, they got there, handed over the ransom, counted and said it's not complete. He said those 3 checkpoints. They said, okay, it's fine. So, you see, when you hear stories like that and nobody's refuting, government is not saying anything about it. As recent as yesterday or the day before, Sheikh Gumi came out to say we can no longer negotiate with bandits because the narrative has changed. I find that laughable because, again, he should be in prison if you ask me. Because he's been directly involved with and all of that. So, until we stop being pretentious about this, until the government come to the conclusion. You look at what played out in Oyo State, where Sunday Igboho came out to give them a 2-hour ultimatum, and they brought... So, you see, we have footprints that we can use as a build-up to enhance our security architecture. We're not doing anything about it. That's why I will keep insisting that the government is pretentious about this. They have information... Insult the government now on any social media outlet. Just insult them. You'll be traced.